Hello, and welcome to Crafting Your Best Resume with the University of Delaware Career Center. This presentation will cover the purpose of a resume, formatting considerations, effectively communicating your experience and action statements, best practices for tailoring your resume, and the difference between a resume and a curriculum vitae. A resume is essentially a summary of your professional history, highlighting your skills and accomplishments. Its purpose is to prove you are a good fit for a position so that you can move on to an interview with an employer. You can think of a resume as a document that represents you when you're not in the room to do it yourself. Many people want to know what the best resume looks like. The best version of your resume will effectively showcase what you bring to the table in terms of experience, strengths, and achievements. It should relate to the specific position you're applying to by highlighting your relevant experiences. In regard to format, it should demonstrate the 3 C's, displayed correctly, conservatively, and consistently. This means that the best resume for you should differ from someone else's, because you are unique and bring your own special assets to an employer. While format can vary in many ways, some general guidelines you want to consider are as follows. Keep your font choice to basic fonts such as Times New Roman or Arial. Your document should be limited to black and white in color. This, however, varies for those in creative fields such as graphic design, where the primary function of these positions is to create visual products. You should utilize the space on the document in a balanced manner. Adjust your spacing where appropriate between sections so that you don't have large empty areas. Also be mindful of how you use stylistics, such as bolding and underlining. Stylistics are an effective way of organizing your resume, however, avoid overuse. Within each section, items should be listed in reverse chronological order, meaning your most recent or current experience listed first, and then proceeding to go further and further into your past. Do not include any unnecessary personal information, such as pictures, birth date, or social security number. Maintain consistent formatting choices throughout the entirety of your document. For example, if you have your dates aligned to the right of your page in one section, it should look like that throughout the entire page across sections. Resume length should be restricted to 1 page for undergraduates and 2 pages for graduate students. Finally, eliminate any personal pronouns such as I, me, we, she, he, or etc. Your resume will be split into categories or sections. Mandatory sections include your contact information, education, and some form of experience section. There are many other sections you may choose to include to show off your experience. Some examples of these optional sections include activities, awards, or skills. Let's take a closer look at each of these sections. Your resume should begin with your contact information right at the top of the page. Your name should be listed as the biggest and boldest thing on the page, as it's one of the most visible parts of your professional brand. It should also include a phone number and email address that you can be contacted through. You may also include a link to a professional website, such as a LinkedIn profile, ePortfolio, or other online location showcasing your work. The next section listed is typically your education section. For each educational entry, you should include information about the school name, location and city-state format, and your graduation or expected graduation date in month-year format. Next, list your degree title. This should be spelled out and not abbreviated. In this example, you'll see the student wrote Bachelor of Science instead of its common abbreviation of BS. Then you can list your major title, along with any minors and concentrations as applicable. If your GPA is a 3.0 or above, feel free to include this as well. While you can include honors and awards in a separate section, many students choose to list academic ones within the education section as well. Study abroad experiences can be expressed here as well, with information about the program name, nature of courses, location, and time spent. Another option of inclusion is relevant coursework. Just be sure to only include coursework that is relevant to the position you're applying for. The experience section is likely the part of the resume that will be the most work for you. This is your opportunity to really shine. You'll start off each experiential entry with basic heading information, including company name, location, your position title, and the date range worked. Then you'll describe your work in action statements, discussing your tasks and accomplishments. Each statement is usually listed in bulleted format and should begin with a strong action verb. Your experience sections can be expressed in different ways, ranging from related experience to more industry-related labels. Let's examine the key components of an effective action statement. Each action statement should give the reader an idea of what you did, how you did it, and the purpose or outcome of the task. Read the example here. This statement begins with a nice, strong action verb, gives specific examples of how they performed their task, and included achievement measures to provide evidence of their success. Here's an example of one experience entry. Notice the strong action verbs used. You can see in the last bullet that this individual gave specific examples of what exactly they meant by administrative support, so that the readers have a better understanding of the scope of their experience. These are some examples of optional sections. An activity section can include student organizations you may be involved in around campus or volunteering roles. You can format these very similarly to the experience section. However, you can choose to exclude bullets if your role was more passive. Once again, an award section can be expressed in a separate section or combined in with your education section. A common optional section is the skills section. This should be limited to measurable skills, certifications, or licenses. Transferable skills like communication should be left off. Here you can see examples of both the activities and skills sections. Notice how this person chose to include bullets highlighting their achievements within their leadership role. You can also see that the skills section includes machine operations as well as lab procedure abilities, which are also encouraged. Here's a resume in its entirety. You can see that in this example, there is a large amount of white space at the bottom that could be balanced out with spacing changes. The font size for the name at the top could be increased to stand out more, and many of the action verbs could be stronger. You'll want to check for improvements and revisions when finished with your first draft. You'll also want to consider the questions listed on the left to ensure your resume is the best it can be. You can find resume samples and templates on the UD Career Center website. You can also get personalized virtual feedback from VMOC at your convenience. After writing your resume, the most important thing you should do as you apply is tailor your resume to each position. This allows employers to see that you can make explicit connections between your experience and their position, as well as the industry. Applicant tracking systems will also scan a candidate's resume for keywords from the job description. These systems will decline you before it even gets to a hiring manager if these keywords are not present in your document. You can tailor your resume by inserting keywords and language from the job description into your resume. Resume Worded is a platform that will streamline this process for you by allowing you to upload your resume and job description to its system. It will then provide feedback on how tailored your resume is to this position. You should also be sure to include broader industry terms. Use LinkedIn for examples of how similar professionals describe their experience. View career information resources such as Vault for finding more industry-specific keywords as well. You may come across job postings that ask for a CV instead of a resume. CV stands for Curriculum Vitae, which means a journey of my life in Latin. Respectively, this document represents a full account of your professional history. This document doesn't have a page limit and may go on for several or more pages. They also don't typically need tailoring, mainly changing only as you add new entries. You can see a sample of the CV on the left with our original resume sample on the right. You'll typically use a CV when applying to academic settings, such as a professor role or postdocs. This concludes the resume presentation. There are many resources available to assist you in creating the best resume for you.